What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, in the We Are Tottenham TV studio with the boys. My current We Are London host. No, that's not yet at all. London is ours.
Get it right.
Yes, and we're just about to get into the West Ham Tottenham game at the London Stadium. First London derby for them of the season. We had Chelsea, of course, but a big one, boys. The return of Mohamed Kudus. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good about it. You know what it is, yeah? I think, just saying We Are Tottenham, you know, there's two types of players, right? Ones that kind of crumble under that kind of pressure and that intense atmosphere, and there's ones that like kind of rise up to it. And once you get in, you know, the abuse from the stands, you kind of thrive under that pressure. And I just feel like Mohamed Kudus will be like kind of one of those guys, because the way he kind of left West Ham and the shithousery that he was coming out with when he joined.
Why do you think? Why do you think all that came out? I mean, it didn't look like he was having a bad time at West Ham. He had a bad. We didn't turn on him. It wasn't like he fell out of favour of the fans. So why did he come out and do all of that? Because I think he's just made a rod for his own back.
Maybe it's just a way to ingratiate himself to his new club. He knows as soon as he signs for Tottenham, he's a Tottenham player now, and he's got to do everything he can to get the fans to love him, get him on side. And if he does this, he knows, it's going to be great. You know, they're going to love me for it. And yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because obviously West Ham brought him to the Premier League, you know, and gave him that big opportunity to show his skills on a bigger platform. So you would have thought he had a bit more appreciation for what they did. He didn't want to just throw that all away. Like, I do wonder, like, when he's doing that kind of stuff, if he scores, is he going to celebrate? Surely not. I mean, that would be pretty crazy. But yeah, I think I think as soon as he signs for Tottenham, I think in his mind, he's like, all right, I'm a Tottenham player. He was asked by the medical guy, if you check my heart, I'm going to have Spurs in there. Like he was saying all this kind of stuff in the video, announcement video. He said, I always wanted Tottenham. I mean, if
any dagger he could throw, he was throwing.
He was throwing it,
I'm just trying to imagine if we like sold a player to Arsenal and he was doing all of that, he would be public enemy number one for sure. It's hard to say.
In the first place, you're going to be public enemy number one, and now he's just like...
The only thing I can think is maybe does he not realise how big the rivalry is between Tottenham and West Ham? Maybe. Yeah, but maybe as we were saying before, like
didn't play that long.
But maybe because I remember the last time we played them, it was like a very damp squib kind of game. Maybe he thought we're not as big a rivalries as we actually are. I don't know. Maybe in his mind, he didn't think it was that big of a deal. That's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise it's just like, does he realise what he's saying basically to the West Ham fans?
You do realise that a lot of the owners before he went, there was no one was really blaming Kudus, and no one was really saying like it was his fault. They were saying it was Sullivan's fault because Tottenham were the only bidders. He's accepted the bid. What else do you want him to do? He's not wanted at the club, and you know where else is he going to go? There's no one there. But then all of a sudden he starts talking all nonsense, and everything's just come back on him.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. But like me as a Spurs fan, I love it. You know, but
of course.
You know, I'm going to love that kind of thing, and I think he's got himself a good place within the Spurs fan base straight from the off, and I think his performances as well have even increased that. And
but what happens, right? And Lee Judge has done the same thing with Declan, right? What happens if he doesn't come to the London Stadium and perform? He absolutely stinks the place out, because Declan done it a couple of times and Lee was berating him. You know, you don't play for them anymore. You don't care about them anymore. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care
I think
about
it's different though for Declan Rice than it is for Kudus, because Declan Rice is like a West Ham boy. You know what I mean? He's a proper West. Kudus only there for 2 years, and he wanted to leave apparently, if you believe the press, after the first year. So maybe there was some sort of dynamic there. He asked to leave at the end of the first year, and they didn't let him leave, and something like that.
Maybe
something like that was going on.
But it wasn't our fault. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not the fans' fault.
The problem is with what Mo's done. Is everything he's done. He's thrown mud at the fans, and the fans never stop supporting him, and that's why a lot of them are really upset with the way he's gone. Because, you know, someone said if you had him in a lift, what would you say to him? I would say to him, do you really want to go there, or is it just the stepping stone? And he said he did. I said, well, then you don't know about the rivalry. You know what I mean? And you don't know about English football as well as you do. Apparently, he's a bad egg in the changing room. So a lot of people weren't too upset that he was going. But I think when you start throwing the mud, maybe he's trying to get a dig at his old club. Maybe he's trying to get a dig at his old teammates, because maybe they didn't get on. But, you know, inevitably he's just thrown it at the fans, which has hurt.
Bad egg and said, what, you'd like threw the towel in? He was just like moping around.
Yeah,
kind
just
of thing,
a lot of people just saying he wasn't a great character in the dressing rooms, and he was caused a lot of problems. And
but were they saying that after the first year? Was that mainly after the second?
Yeah, I reckon. Maybe it was because he wanted to go and they didn't let him go.
Yeah.
You know, but he had the 2-year deal. I mean, this is the thing about players. You sign a deal, you honour the deal. He had a clause where he could go after 2 years. So just put it in for 2 years. He's lost us 30 million quid, basically, because he had an £85 million release clause.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have had a carbon copy of his first year in his second year,
would have got
release clause is getting met.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
When it comes to transfers for you, like with what's happened with Kudus, is this going to be when it comes to a player coming back to West Ham? Is this going to be like the biggest kind of fiery reception you think you give to a player?
I reckon it's going to be big. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be big. Where was the last one I would say was fiery?
Well, Defoe.
Defoe, maybe.
I don't know if like Parker and
Defoe always had a decent
Carrick.
record against West Ham as well.
Very good. But I don't know about like Defoe, Carrick, Canute, these.
No, I don't think. I think
Parker. Parker.
Yeah, Parker didn't come back though, did he? He wasn't.
But not even just from a Spurs West Ham point of view, just in general, like in terms of like being prepared for a fiery reception for players coming to West Ham.
I think this is the biggest one for lately. But I think he's just done it to himself. I don't think it was because we felt like he stabbed us in the back. But he's now he like initially by leaving. But now, because of what he said, I think he's put himself into a bad spot. I'm interested to see how he's going to take this. Because
after saying what he said, surely he's ready for it. You know what I mean? Like he'll be going into that game ready for what's about to happen.
Can you be ready for it?
I think you can, because once you make the move right, that's one thing in itself. But after making a comment, surely you know what's going to happen.
Well, you'd think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure about some of these footballers.
I look at Sol Campbell, for example. He probably knew what was about to happen when he was about to step.
I think he thrived on it, though.
He did.
I think he loved it. He loved the attention.
I don't know if Sol even knew about the balloons and all that kind of stuff we were going to do.
He knew it was going to be a crazy atmosphere. He knew the attention was all going to be.
Yeah, he knew the attention.
I think Sol knew what he was doing. Sol was a strange character. He was an odd mind, Sol. You know what I mean? And I think things like that were sort of like things that he got off on a little bit. You know what I mean? On the fact that he's left you to, he said all of this stuff, then he's done like a WWE character, stabbed you in the back and all that sort of thing. Mo, I don't know whether he's got the bloody brains to do that. To be quite honest,
right?
Listen, he's an intelligent boy. I know he is, but in terms of like knowing what you're going to be walking into. But then I don't know what he's going to be walking into. You know what I mean? The London Stadium is not as hostile as it would have been if he was coming back to Upton Park.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm interested. But it would get. Listen, we've seen him lose his head last year at Tottenham, and he started whacking people when it wasn't going his way. Look, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, and I'm worried as well. Like you saw what happened when Newcastle played Liverpool, like just the whole Isaac kind of saga. It gave Newcastle a little bit of edge. I know they ended up losing, but they were brilliant that day, and they clearly upped their level. They upped their game. They should have won. They were much better team. Even with 10 men, they were the better team.
Is that what you worry about?
I'm worried that will West Ham get that extra edge just with the whole saga? Will it give them that little bit of fire, which maybe wouldn't have been there if the saga didn't take place?
I think that fire is always there in a Spurs West Ham game, because however crap sometimes West Ham go into the fixture, more times than not they get a result at the London Stadium. You know what I mean?
So is it going to pour gasoline on that fire? You know what I mean?
Could do.
But you've got to be feeling good. Levy's out.
Yes.
Walked out 25 years. He's finally walked out. Unexpected, really.
He didn't walk out. He was walked out.
He was walked out.
Of
course. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a massive breath of fresh air, and I think that away end's going to be buzzing.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the first week back since then. Do you think the fans are going to be in extra spirits?
100%. And I, for one, if I can get there, I'm hoping to get there. And if I can, I think it's going to be the best away end in a long time. And like I was saying to you before when we are Tottenham, like these games, the atmosphere hasn't been great over the last couple of years. But I think this one, with the Kudus situation, West Ham fans are going to be bang up for it. And I think with the Levy and Kudus situation, Spurs fans are going to be bang up for it as well. And I think there's a good kind of sense of optimism in the Spurs fan base as well, with Thomas Frank, new era, optimism with the players that have come in. We haven't seen Javi Simons and Randall Kolo Muani yet. So I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere.
What do you think about, a couple of weeks ago you'd have said you was dead set. Last week you lose the game at home. Last week we win a game away, which was more than expected.
Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, where did it come from? And is it typical going into
80 minutes into that game, you'll still put her out, I think.
Yeah, but is that worry for you?
I think it showed that he can adapt, and also you defended a lot better in that game. I remember before the game you were saying Chris Wood's going to have a field day, and Forest had no chance we get anything out of that game, and you go and win the game 3-0.
Do you know what the problem was? They set up to hit Chris Wood because we set up differently. They was confused about how to make that work. And then all of a sudden, that was the only plan they had. They had no other plan, so that wasn't working, and he had no plan B.
Yeah.
That's it. And Nuno, I think the way he plays, he relies on his teams, getting an early lead and managing the game. That's usually how things work. But look, credit to West Ham. They got the win, 3-0, and especially the way you kind of, when you got the first goal, you just kept going. You kept trying to, you went and killed the game. And, with Paquetá throwing the phone away in his celebration, and a bit more of a positive mood around West Ham going into the Astral break. And after you change your tactics, getting that win, getting that little bit of confidence, and knowing that West Ham always do seem to up their game whenever they play Tottenham, having that little bit of confidence going into it. That does worry me a bit, for sure, compared to if you would have not won that game and you would have still had that negative feeling going into this one, knowing that if we can take advantage of that negative feeling and maybe that toxicity that the London Stadium can bring when you're losing and not playing well, and you can get very quiet very quickly, if you're not playing well. So I think I would have been a lot more confident if you would have still been in that kind of frame of mind going into this game. But the fact you got an impressive win away at Forest, and Paquetá stayed in the end, you got a few signings through the door. I'm not saying all is well, West Ham, but I'm just worried going into this specific game. Are you going into it, a bit pumped up, a bit of positive mood? Because
of the signings and because we haven't got any injuries, I think this is the perfect time to be playing you, because I think, although we did bring a few signings, a couple of injuries, and we're back to square one. So we're probably going into it as strong as we will be at any point in the season, because one or two injuries, a suspension or something, we've got everyone available at the minute that would have been available, may not have been available later on.
And on the flip side as well, we were going into aspects so confident, and then obviously we had it wasn't just a loss against Bournemouth, we were dreadful.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. The
shots ratio
as good as we were in the other games, we were bad in that game. It was terrible.
Break it down,
we didn't have a shot.
Was that a little bit of a sort of a
reality check? A bit, because we were saying before the game, we've had certain tests go into this game, like PSG, Man City, where that's like a certain test, right? You're playing top-level teams. How do you adjust? How do you stop them from scoring and then, try and create chance yourself? We played then Burnley as well, bottom of the team. So, can you create chances against the worst team in the league? That was that test.
Yeah.
And I was going into that game, we were saying, these middle teams who are very clever, tactically smart managers,
they'll catch you out.
Exactly, they can catch you out. If you're not on top of your game, you can take them for granted. You can think you're the better team, and you go into those games thinking, okay, we'll just win. But they're very smart, and they came into that game, Bournemouth, with a very clear tactical plan, and we just had no answer.
Yeah.
For all of Frank's adaptations, he's come into this so far and been very impressive. For that specific game, it was a different test, and he had no answer to it. So that was kind of a bit of okay, he's outsmarted the other managers he's played, but he couldn't outsmart Iraola in this game. That was a bit of a worry, how badly he was kind of out-tacticked.
Yeah. The thing is, as well, it's been a bit of a personnel issue. We've seen throughout pre-season, we can press high up the pitch against these teams like PSG and against the Man Cities when they're asked to have the possession and they're playing out from the back. We can press them high up the pitch, we can nick the ball, turn over and get a goal. But when we're asked to have the possession, we've had no number 10. We haven't been able to break teams down in regularity. That happened through pre-season. Even Burnley, when we were on 3-0, I think we were struggling to progress the ball up the pitch. So now Javi Simons is coming. That should change a lot. But we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So until you see it, you can't really see it.
Well, this is what, I mean, we've had Spurs fans and they're talking about them two players. I'm like, you can't really say anything. Do you think any of them are going to start tomorrow?
I think Javi will start. He has to start because he's our only number 10.
Yeah.
We've got no other creative force in the middle of the park.
Moani, no.
He's a striker. I mean, look, we've got Richarlison who's on good form. I think he started the season on fire. Obviously, poor performance against Bournemouth.
Could be Moani off the left because he looks like he's off the left in training that we've seen.
I start Richarlison. You've got to start the man in form, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think Moani's had 2 weeks. He stayed behind from internationals because he wasn't called up. So he's had 2 weeks just to work with Frank. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Frank thinks I'll just throw him in straight away, just off the left-hand side potentially because he's been playing there in training. Simons, I think, has to play. So I think there's going to be a lot of, it's kind of, you don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up because there's going to be quite a few new players. We're also going to see what Frank's learnt from the Bournemouth game. So there's going to be a few things to see from a Tottenham perspective.
Absolutely. Interesting game then, boys. Let's push you for a result. What do you think?
I think the first goal is vital in this game. And I think if West Ham get it, it might be hard for us to break it down because, like I said, we haven't seen us.
Chelsea said the same thing.
Yeah, Chelsea did say the same thing. But I do feel if Spurs get the first goal, it could be a bit of a landslide victory, to be honest. But it all depends on how long it's 0-0 for. I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs.
Okay.
And our first win since, Jose Mourinho?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
At your place.
Could be with us soon. if we lose this game.
I'm also going to go 3-1. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I look at your midfield and I still think you struggle with physicality. And I think if we can have Paulinho, we're going to probably have Bentancur or Sarr in there. And I just think you're going to struggle to keep up at the end of the day. And also set pieces, that's something we've improved a lot, and that's one of your biggest Achilles heels. Yeah. So I think, look, I know we had the better players. I think you're going to be up for it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you take the lead or have a fast start. But I just think, I'm hoping quality will show. But it's a derby. I'm hesitant to say we're definitely going to win because I am worried that you're just going to up your game and you've done it before. And there's going to be a little bit extra fire and extra edge to this game. And is that going to give West Ham that little bit extra? I know when Paquetá's at his best and Bowen's at his best, these are very, very good players. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a very tough game. But I'm just hoping if all goes to plan, we should win.
I fancy a draw. I fancy a 2-2.
I feel like as well, West Ham fans have obviously been moaning a lot this season, quite rightly so. It's not been great from everything. Yeah. You've covered it to depths on your channel, but I feel like in this game, that's got to all be put to one side from you lot, and you just got to completely.
Yeah, I think
that's what will happen as well.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it'll be a nice atmosphere. I think it'll be a good game. But there you go. Leave your score predictions in the comment section down below. Thank you for joining us for this video. Go and check out the boys on We Are Tottenham TV. I've done a preview with them over there. And if you're new around here, subscribe to us. Thank you very much. I'll see you Saturday. One thing left to say: come on, you irons.
Come on, Spurs.